What's up everybody, another beautiful day in the Dragon House, and today I'll be going over the Elementalist build for M+ in 10.2, talents, how they work, and how to play it. Now if you're a returning player, there's been a lot of updates to our talents and abilities going into 10.2, and I have videos out covering all our changes, how they impact us, as well as how our new Tierset bonus works. So I recommend checking those out if you want to know more. So let's go over the build. We get all the Lava Lash talents, Molten Assault, so that we can spread and refresh Flame Shock with Lava Lash, and it also reduces its cooldown, which helps fuel our funnel damage. Hot Hand, when it procs, reduces Lava Lash cooldown by 75%, and it increases its damage by 40% for 8 seconds, allowing us to smash out Omega empowered Lava Lashes every other global. Ashen Catalyst, each time your Flame Shock dot ticks, it increases your next Lava Lash damage by 12% and reduces its cooldown by 0.5 seconds, and this stacks up to 8 times. And this is partially where we get some of our funnel or prio damage from. Having Flame Shock up on multiple target means we get a lower cooldown on Lava Lash and it slaps harder. Lashing Flame, Lava Lash increases the damage of Flame Shock on its target by 100% for 20 seconds. And due to this talent, when there's multiple targets, you want to tab and swap target on each and every Lava Lash to debuff them. Flame Shock is a big part of our sustained damage on AoE, so need more AoE? Tab target with Lava Lash. But for players who can't or don't want to play with Lashing Flame, there are options that I'll go over in a bit. We then get improved Raging and Overflowing Maelstrom, increasing our Maelstrom spender damage, and we can have and spend up to 10 stacks of Maelstrom rather than 5. So our spender slap twice as hard and gives us some more wiggle room in our rotation when we're drowning in Maelstrom. Then we have the Unholy Trinity, Ice Strike, Hailstorm, Swirling Maelstrom. Ice Strike increases your next Frost Shock damage by 100%, Hailstorm increases your next Frost Shock damage by 15% per Maelstrom spent, so up to 150% more damage. Now on top of this, Hailstorm also increases targets hit by Frost Shock by up to 5, for a total of 6 targets. Combined with Swirling Maelstrom, Ice Strike generates 1 Maelstrom, and consuming Hailstorm stacks on a Frost Shock generates 1 Maelstrom as well, so it helps a ton with overall Maelstrom generation on single target and bosses. Now this combo is pretty insane for AoE. A big portion of our AoE and cleave damage is from these empowered Frost Shocks, as anytime you spend Maelstrom, you'll be able to fire one off, and every other Frost Shock will be giga buffed by Ice Strikes as well, turning it into an actual nuke on up to 6 targets. Then we get Crash Lightning and Crashing Storms. Crash Lightning generates an absurd amount of Maelstrom on AoE. You have a chance to proc Wind Fury on any target hit by this, as well as the AoE portion of it that triggers when you storm Ice Strike or Lava Lash, which fuels our funnel damage even more on big packs. Crashing Storm increases crash damage, but more importantly makes Chain Lightning arc to 2 additional targets, which is something we really want on AoE. Else Chain Lightning is a bit sad, makes you feel bad, worst we ever had. Sundering activates our old tier bonus from Aberrus, so if you're using tier 30, Sundering is mandatory. Without, you can flex the Sundering point to something else, that is if you don't want a giga big in-cap. We then get Elemental Weapons, 5% Fire, Frost and Nature damage per weapon imbue, and then we take Feral Spirit with Witch Doctor's Ancestry and Elemental Spirits, so it increases our Maelstrom generation, but more importantly, Maelstrom generated reduces Feral Spirit cooldown by 2 seconds per Maelstrom spent. So the more Maelstrom we generate, the more Wolfies we get. And the more Wolfies we get, the more Primordial Waves we get due to the Tierset bonus. Synergy. Elemental Spirits, each Wolfie increases either Frost, Fire, or Nature damage by 20%, and regardless of Wolf, we always get value from this, either by further buffing Frost Shock, Chain Lightning, Flame Shock, Lava Lash damage, and it also gives Elemental Blast insane value on bosses and prio targets, but when you really need to slap a mob. We then want to get at least 1 point in the reworked Elemental Assault, which gives us a 50% chance per point to gain 1 Maelstrom whenever we Storm Strike, Lava Lash, or Ice Strike, giving us an insane upswing in Maelstrom on single target, which is something Elementalist lacked before 10.2. So if you thought we felt good on bosses in dungeons before, it's even better now. And lastly, we have the Coupe de Grace, Primordial Wave with Primal Maelstrom and Splintered Elements. So Primordial Wave slaps the target, applies Flame Shock, and empowers your next Lightning Bolt to deal 150% increased damage and hit all targets with Flame Shock up, so up to 6 targets. And due to Primal Maelstrom, you get 10 Maelstrom when you hit Primordial Wave, which, like I said, also reduces your Feral Spirit cooldown since you generate Maelstrom. And you get 20% haste plus 4% per target hit by those extra lightning bolts from this due to splintered elements. And here is where the fun comes in. Slapping away empowered lightning bolts on 6 targets, getting 40% haste for 12 seconds. And all of this haste reduces our rotational ability cooldowns by a ton. We generate a ton of Maelstrom, and overall our damage skyrockets. Too bad we can only do it every 45 seconds. Oh wait, the new Tierset reduces this down to 24 seconds. Oh, what a shame. Oh. This is also a great tool to utilize when you need to nuke down prior targets. You can funnel all that haste from Primordial Wave into slapping a prior target. You'll be generating a ton of extra Maelstrom on AoE due to Crash Lightning and all that haste, as well as a ton of extra Lava Lash damage due to Ashen Catalyst ticking faster, allowing you to put the hurt onto one poor mob or boss. And while you're doing that, you'll still be Frost Shock slapping 5 other targets for some juicy cleave in AoE. We will wreck packs. Lastly, before we check rotation, like I mentioned earlier, there is a non-Lashing Flame build if you want to play without Lashing Flame in M+, as it is arguably one of the harder parts of enhancement in M+. So for this, no Lashing Flame and instead 2 points Legacy of the Frost Witch, which now increases frost damage as well in 10.2. So this will make your Frost Shock slap a fair bit harder and occasionally your Elemental Blast as well. However, only works if you cast Elemental Blast when the buff is up. Otherwise it works the same, just shift some damage around so you do more Frost Shock damage overall and you don't have to tab with Lashing. However, overall, Lashing Flame is played properly, it will do more damage, but anytime you aren't tabbing, its value plummets. So for some, this will just be a straight up DPS increase. For other veteran enhancers, this might not be the play at all. But with that out of the way, let's go over the rotation prio and break it down a bit. Now this is assuming you have the new 4-set bonus from Amirdrasil. So on pull or start of a pack, you want to always pop it before Feral Spirit due to the new 4-set bonus. Then you want a Feral Spirit on cooldown, Lava Lash if Flame Shock is active on your target to spread it if you haven't spread it to 6 targets already. Flame Shock if it's not active on any target. Lightning Bolt if you have 10 Maelstrom, Primordial Wave buff and as many targets as possible afflicted by Flame Shock. More targets, more haste gained. Chain Lightning if you're at 10 stacks of Maelstrom, which will be your primary spender on anything above 3 targets. Elemental Blast if you're at 10 Maelstrom and there's 1 to 3 targets. Crash Lightning if the buff is not active, we mainly just want to maintain Crash Lightning buff. And then we use it as a filler if there's little else to press. Then you want a Lava Lash, cycling between targets to apply Lashing Flames if you play with it. Ice Strike, Frost Shock with Hellstorm stacks for those insane slaps. Sundering unless you used it for interrupt. Storm Strike, Crash Lightning, spend Maelstrom if nothing else. Now as intimidating or confusing as this might sound, it really is just a prio list. If you have everything available, you press Primordial Wave. If that's already on cooldown, then you Lava Lash to spread Flame Shock. If that's already done, then you etc etc. And more often than not on AoE, you kinda cycle between Lava Lash, Ice Strike and Crash Lightning, spending Maelstrom on Chain Lightning and following it up with a Frost Shock. Since spending Maelstrom gives you Hellstorm stack, increases the amount of targets hit and damage done by Frost Shock, and whenever Hot Hand procs, you're kinda weaving it in every other global. So you'll go Lava Lash, Chain Lightning, Lava Lash, Ice Strike, Lava Lash, Frost Shock, etc etc. And if Lava Lash is on cooldown, Crash Lightning for buff. If you're at full Maelstrom, you always spend on either Chain Lightning or Elemental Blast. You never want to overcap Maelstrom. And after spending Lava Lash again, if you can't, Frost Shock, can't do any, fill with Storm Strike or Crash. So going into a pack, an opener would be pop Primordial Wave into Feral Spirit to reduce Primordial Wave's cooldown due to the new 4-set. So you Primordial Wave one mob and then Flame Shock a different mob, and then you Lava Lash that one. Doing so will net you a total of 6 Flame Shock targets, if there are that many in the pack. And then you Lightning Bolt, follow it up with Crash Lightning for the buff, then Ice Strike into a Frost Shock, then rinse repeat. ish. So just focus on generating Maelstrom, spend it into a Frost Shock, and watch packs melt. Freeze? They die. Now there is a lot more to this build than its distant cousin, the Storm Cleave, which is a 3-button smash face to keyboard build that I love, but I do recommend learning the Elementalist build, as it is an absolute beast in M+, now more so than ever. Now when you get to those pesky bosses, the rotation shifts a little bit. Don't use Chain Lightning for one. So the Prio goes Primordial Wave on cooldown, Flame Shock if it's not active, Feral Spirit on cooldown, Lava Lash if Hot Hand is active, Wind Fury Totem if it isn't out, Elemental Blast at 5 Maelstrom if you have 2 charges of it, otherwise Lightning Bolt if you're at 8 stacks of Maelstrom and have the Primordial Wave buff, otherwise Elemental Blast at 8 Maelstrom and a Feral Spirit active, otherwise Lightning Bolt at 10 Maelstrom, Ice Strike, Frost Shock if you have Hailstorm stacks, Lava Lash, Storm Strike, Sundering, Lightning Bolt with 5 or more stacks of Maelstrom to generate Hailstorm, and then Crash Lightning, refresh stuff if there's nothing else. Again, it might seem like a lot to track, but it really is fairly straightforward. Pop cooldowns on cooldown. If you have 8 to 10 Maelstrom, always spend, otherwise Lava Lash, Ice Strike, and Frost Shock, or Storm Strike till you can spend. And ideally, you always want to spend your Elemental Blast charges during Feral Spirit to buff them. And if there's ever a boss with any form of adds, like most bosses in Season 3, it's always good to try to combine Primordial Wave with add spawning. Just don't hold it for too long, especially not with the new Tierset, but a few seconds, it's well worth it. And then lastly, if you're struggling with the Elementalist rotation, I really recommend the addon Hekili. It is a rotation helper addon and it shows you what you should be pressing next, and it is very accurate. So it's incredibly helpful for players who are new to enhancement to help put the rotation priority into play, and it helps free up some much needed brain space. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this build guide for the Elementalist M+ build. The best build in the world! But I can tell you, it has never felt better to do M+ as enhancement as it does right now. Now let me know what y'all think of these guides. Any info you feel is missing, let me know. And if you really want to dig deep into everything enhancement, I really recommend reading WordUp's Wowhead or Icy Vein Bible for enhancement, as most of this is based off that and he goes a lot more in-depth into, well, everything. Also a huge shout out to Leylana from the Shaman Discord for their help with the script. Thank you very much. Don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and slap that notification bell. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments or become a patron, Twitch sub, or YouTube member and get access to the Stankie Discord, where you can get help with anything enhancement or PvE related. You can also get shoutouts and videos and things like that. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.